Well, it's not so bad after all. It's realistic, okay, but, hey, what's happening here? What's going on? Holy mackerel, look at me! I'm black and white!
Picture, if you will, one of America's favorite talk show hosts. A man loved by millions, though sometimes prone to overacting. Trapped on a voyage into another dimension of the macabre. Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
I don't like this!
Today, we enter the fifth dimension to take a look at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disney's Hollywood Studios, Disney California Adventure, Walt Disney Studio Park in Paris, and Tokyo Disney Sea. This accelerated drop tower dark ride is considered one of the all-time greatest theme park attractions. It has become one of the most recognizable attractions across all Disney theme parks. So let's drop in and discover the secrets waiting in the Twilight Zone. The story starts back in 1985, when the newly appointed CEO, Michael Eisner, tasked Imagineers with developing new pavilions for Epcot. One of these pavilions would be great moments at the movies, and would bring guests through famous movie scenes. After some time in development and some healthy competition from Universal, the concept would turn into a completely new park, Disney MGM Studios. The new park would open on May 1st, 1989. Due to the park being rushed in order to beat Universal to an opening date, the park was missing that big e-ticket attraction outside of the Great Movie Ride or the Studio Backlot Tour. This is where the idea for a new expansion and exciting attraction would come into play. Imagineers had also been working on the Euro Disney project at the time. One of the attraction ideas would be for a drop tower themed to Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. The free fall attraction had opened at Six Flags Magic Mountain in 1982, becoming very popular not long into its run. The Euro Disney attraction would have been placed within Discovery Mountain, with the guests being dropped into an open lava vent with bursts of steam. The elevator would splash through a waterfall in the last moments. Due to budget cuts, this concept would eventually be scrapped. Meanwhile, a number of ideas were being tossed around by Imagineers for Disney MGM Studios. One idea was to use the stories of Stephen King as an inspiration. Another was a Vincent Price ghost tour. However, the idea that received the most development was a partnership with Mel Brooks. One early idea was for Castle Young Frankenstein, based on Brooks' 1974 film. The idea would morph into Mel Brooks' Hollywood Horror Hotel, with Brooks narrating the attraction. Mel Brooks would leave the project to make Life Stinks after some initial conversations, but the idea for a horror hotel would stick around. After searching for other properties, the Imagineers would settle on the Twilight Zone. Created and hosted by Rod Serling, The Twilight Zone was a horror sci-fi television series that would run from October 2nd, 1969 until June 19th, 1964. Each episode would present a standalone story in which characters find themselves dealing with often disturbing and unusual events, an experience often described as entering the Twilight Zone, often with a surprise ending and a moral. The new attraction would be placed in a brand new expansion based around Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, California. Disney would break ground on the new attraction in 1992. The attraction would be based around a 1930s era Hollywood hotel. The design of the building would be inspired by existing Southern California landmarks, such as the Chateau Marmont and the Mission Inn. The neo-Mediterranean architecture was designed so that the rear facade of the attraction would blend in with the Morocco Pavilion over at Epcot. Disney Imagineers would decide to create a brand new ride system for the new attraction to allow for more capacity and a faster drop compared to the original freefall attraction. Otis Elevator Company would create the vertical ride system, with Eaton Kenway developing a ride vehicle that could drive itself horizontally. Each ride vehicle can seat up to 22 guests and were made to resemble old elevators. Using the Autonomous Guided Vehicle, or AGV technology, the passenger cart has the ability to move from one elevator through the fifth dimension and into the drop sequence without any rails or tracks. The elevator cabs follow a wire embedded into the ground, making this attraction one of the first to technically ever use a trackless ride system. In order to achieve the weightless effect that the Imagineers desired, cables attached to the bottom of the elevator car pull it down at a speed slightly faster than what a freefall would provide. Two enormous motors are located at the top of the tower. They are able to accelerate 10 short tons at 15 times the speed of a normal elevator. They generate 275 times the torque of a Corvette engine, reaching the top speed in 1.5 seconds. The drop reaches a top speed of 39 miles per hour, with a drop that's equivalent as dropping 13 floors. The ride runs on a unique loop system, with 2 identical ride systems built within the tower. There are 4 shafts in a back section of the building containing the dark ride portion of the attraction. After the corridor scene, the 4 shafts merge into 2, with identical 5th dimension scenes, and then a cab enters a single drop shaft. After the drop sequence, the elevators unload into the building's basement, then return to one of the show's shafts to reload the next guest. The attraction initially featured a single drop until May of 1996, when the ride was upgraded with a second one. A third drop was added in 1999. In January 2003, the attraction's triple drop was replaced with a randomized multi-drop sequence selected by a computer within the ride. The pre-show would be directed by Joe Dante, famous for the Gremlins films. Disney felt that Rod Serling needed to be a part of the attraction, although he had passed away almost 2 decades earlier. In order to include Serling in the attraction, Disney opted to hold auditions to cast his voice, with Carol Serling, Rod's widow, serving as a consultant. Mark Silverman would be chosen to provide Serling's voice after Carol's blessing.
You were the passengers on a most uncommon elevator.
The archival footage of Serling used in the pre-show was taken from the Twilight Zone episode, It's a Good Life. It would cost Disney $140 million to develop and build the Tower of Terror. The attraction would officially open on July 22nd, 1994. The ride was an instant hit with guests and would become one of the most iconic thrill attractions at any theme park all around the world. Disney even made a film for The Wonderful World of Disney based around the attraction, starring Steve Guttenberg and Kirsten Dunst. It aired on ABC on October 26, 1997. It was the first film based on a theme park ride and was partially filmed at the actual attraction in Orlando. Guests make their way to the dilapidated Hollywood Tower Hotel through the front gate to enter the queue with overgrown gardens and enter into the hotel lobby.
Doesn't anybody work in this place? I'm an important person. What kind of establishment are you running here? I can't believe this. Hey! Can you tell me where the pool is?
Once in the lobby, guests are ushered into the hotel library, which houses the hotel's collection of books and antiques. With a crash of thunder and lightning, the power in the library goes out, except for a television set which crackles to life. The story behind the attraction tells the events of a stormy night in Hollywood 1939, where a powerful lightning bolt strikes the hotel and causes 5 people, an actor, singer, child star, her nanny, and a hotel bellhop, to vanish from the elevator, along with an entire wing of the building. Serling tells the guests that they'd be stepping into a maintenance service elevator to become the stars of an episode of the Twilight Zone. The guests make their way to the boiler room and prepare to board the service elevator. As guests are loaded into the elevator, the doors close, the lights dim, and the elevator starts to ascend. The elevator stops and the doors open to reveal a dimly lit hotel corridor with a single window at the end. The ghosts of the 5 missing passengers appear, beckoning the guests to join them before disappearing into a burst of electricity that spreads all around the corridor. The elevator doors close and the car continues its ascent, once more opening its doors to a maintenance room. The elevator car exits from the lift shaft horizontally into the room, which slowly fades into darkness and turns into the 5th dimension. Once in the elevator shaft at the end of the hallway, the drop sequence begins. At least once during the drop sequence, the wide elevator doors in front of the riders open up to reveal a view of the theme park, where an on-ride camera captures a photograph or a video. Once the elevator finishes its sequence, the car backs up into the hotel basement. Guests exit the elevator, leaving the hotel through the gift shop with a wide variety of merchandise, from pins, t-shirts, tower models, and much, much more.
Sir, he's in.
Buzz Lightyear confirming. There is indeed a neighboring park.
Easy, Buzz.
Heads up. I see their leader.
Greetings, 100-foot grizzly bear. I comment. A giant apparatus is lifting entire families, and alien life forms are everywhere.
Hey, you want to go for a spin?
That's it. Somebody has to go in there. Any volunteers? I volunteer.
You've got to head on over to Disney's California Adventure.
Meanwhile, over in Anaheim, Disney was looking to bolster the attendance of its struggling theme park, Disney California Adventure. The park had opened back in 2001 and had been seeing struggling attendance ever since. It was decided to bring Tower of Terror as a brand new e-ticket attraction to the struggling park. The attraction would open officially on May 5th, 2004. The DCA version of the ride would close on January 3rd, 2017, and be replaced by Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout on May 27th of the same year. 3 years after opening at California Adventure, Disneyland Paris would get their own version of the tower on December 22nd, 2007 within the Walt Disney Studios Park. Tokyo Disney Sea would get their own version back in 2006. This version follows a completely different storyline, removing the Twilight Zone franchise completely. Instead, it follows an original story of the Hotel Hightower and a mystical idol on the New Year's Eve of 1899, with guests entering the hotel in 1912 on the brink of the hotel's demolition. The Florida version of the tower is the only one to offer the fifth dimension hallway. The new ride system in the other towers limits the elevator car to a single shaft with 3 shafts in total compared to the 2 shafts in the Florida version.
Hollywood Tower Hotel, I'm sorry, we don't have any vacancies. When will we? Let me check. It seems you're in luck. Something just opened up.
The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Drop in if you dare.
Even after 30 years, the attraction is still consistently on the list of the greatest theme park rides ever created. Tower of Terror was another technological marvel for Disney Imagineering during the Disney decade, adding to the list of timeless attractions to their parks. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Please leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments below what other topics you would like us to discuss. And as always, keep on collecting.